Amazing. If you followed me all the way here, congratulations. Things are turning around and we're finally start with modeling. Without any delay, let's go to the well-known wall tool, which is placed here. Start it and select the properties icon in the new window, which contains all settings for our wall. There are a lot of settings. First, the number of layers. Allplan gives us the option from 1 up to 20 layers, which is more than enough. You can use the arrows or directly type the value you want. Below is the position of the axis, along which we will draw the wall. Depending on the situation, the position of the axis may differ. Sometimes you need the outer or inner edge of the wall, and sometimes the line where the layers touch, or simply the middle of the wall. That's why Allplan offers us these blue dots, but also on the left, we have fields where we can enter the exact distance from the edge, for example 20 centimeters. Then, there is the height button. We use it when we want to assign the same height to all layers, and if you want to assign a separate height to each layer, then you should do it in this space here. In our work, we won't use height fields like this, because in that way we won't be sure how our elements are attached to our level structure. The list of all layers of the wall can be found here, and we have the number of layers from the inside to the outside. If we want to invert the order of the layers, here is the command. Then the thickness of the layers can be changed by clicking on the number, enter a value, for example 15 centimeters, and then press enter. Allplan will adjust the rest. After that, heights, we won't use these one, but we will use these. By clicking on the icon, new window opens, which will be used constantly to define the element's height. The window has a lot of possibilities, and we will go through some of them in the next video. For now, press cancel. Then material, click in the empty field below or on the already entered text and type the desired material. For example, concrete C, 25, 30, click OK. This is just the text that will be listed when we run the quantity report. We can also choose trade and, for example, concreting work or whatever suits you best. If the other options are not shown, you only need to expand the window, and you can arrange them a little bit better, like this. Priority values range from 1 to 999. You can assign a priority value to each layer, and this is important in order to solve the problem of element collisions. An element with a higher priority eats element with a lower priority. In this way, we get accurate quantities in the reports, as well as a nice display in the 3D model. Well, for example, we want to give the highest priority to concrete elements, while we can assign a lower values to masonry blocks, bricks, and insulation. After that, we have calculation mode, and for concrete, choose cubic meter. For some other layers, maybe square meter, or something else. Leave interaction always on dynamic and auto join always on. In format properties, we can set the line thickness, line type, and line color for our wall layers. Or even simpler, maybe choose the appropriate layer that will pull all that data. So click on the layer and select the layer for the concrete wall. For example, this one fits me. It's important to check the boxes in the upper part in order to pull all the data from the layer and then press OK. In this window, choose the surface that will display our material, so we'll click on the 3 dashes and a new surfaces window will open. This is an archive of all Allplan's default surfaces, which you should receive directly with Allplan, and if you don't have it, you can search for it on Allplan's Connect site. Now, depending on the version of Allplan you are using, the surface library may also differ. We are using version 2024, which just got a new library, but don't worry, if you have version 2023 or older, you can follow the path from this image. Generally, library between versions contain the same and added surfaces, so this is another reason why it is good to always have the latest version. We are choosing office, materials, concrete, cast, and choose one of these. For me, this one is working fine. By double left click, we confirm the selection, and in the animation window, you can see differences. In this part, we can decide how our elements will look when we show them in the section. Well, if we cut a concrete wall, we would like to see, for example, hatching or a pattern for a reinforced concrete element. This can be done by choosing hatching, for example, number 313, or for thermal insulation pattern, number 301. The differences between hatching and pattern are not that big, but we won't cover them in this course. What you need to know is that if you choose hatching, you cannot choose a pattern in the same layer, and vice versa. One excludes the other. What you can combine is fill, so for example for concrete we can choose a light green color, number 78. We have bitmap area, as well as style area, but any of the options will override all previous settings. They are not that important for us at this point. It's good to know that style area is already defined Allplan setup for displaying different materials. In this tab, we actually have all the previous tabs listed together, and if you work on a larger screen, this will definitely be the best. There are still options at the bottom of the window, such as moving the order layers up and down, copying existing layers and deleting one of the layers. For the purposes of this project, we will use 4 types of walls. In order not to waste a lot of time with all those options, we will load the settings that I already made and saved inside the Course Materials folder. Then go to Walls and select Wall Type 1. As you can see, all the predefined settings are applied, and the wall drawing axis is set in the middle of the concrete layer. Feel free to explore the settings and press OK when you're ready, so we can start modeling our walls.